Welcome, everybody, back to another episode of Two Fat Guys in a Dream. Of course, I'm your host of the most, Truman Steam Machine Steen. As always, I'm joined here by my father, Scott Steen. Scott, how are you doing?
Doing well, Truman. How about yourself?
Surviving? Thriving? We're here. We missed last week because March Madness for you as a sports handicapper is one of the busiest times of the year, as we even saw last week when we were. Even the last time we recorded when we were watching sports off to the side. So last week didn't really work for you or me. I think I was out on that Thursday for something was going on, and then we just can't really make the weekend work during March Madness. So missed last week. This week,
yeah, you texted me yesterday. We're recording this on Sunday. You texted me on Saturday afternoon about 4:00.
Yeah.
I said, what's a good time to record? And I said about 4 hours ago. We're about 45 minutes away from the game tipping off. So
yeah.
But yeah, it's good to be back. It's good to be here. We've got a couple things to talk about. Kind of as always, we try to keep it health related, but this is going to be a little different spin on health and what happens when you lose a little bit of it and still try to diet. So
yeah,
good to be back. Let's dive right in. I know you've got a tea time.
I do. I do have a tea time today. Yes.
We're going to grip it and rip it, to use a golf term, and let's get out of here. So Truman,
yes sir.
Tell us about your week.
Weighed in 257 this week, and honestly, so with the 2 weeks, I think I was down last week, but this week I got sick. Pretty like I was in that space where I couldn't work out because I was light. I would have been light winded, getting winded going upstairs just because I was couldn't breathe out of my nose face area. So
your nose face area.
Yeah, I knew that I was going to be in for just a nasty time. That
right.
Well, and and it's also sometimes the only way to get better is to sleep, and I didn't want to cut my sleep early either, to make sure I, could wake up to go work out. So I was sleeping in late just to, try to get as much resting time as I can.
Right.
So
yeah, there used to be the nobody could ever keep it straight. It was a starve a cold, feed a fever, or feed a cold, or starve. Nobody ever knew which one it was, and it never made any sense to me. But that used to be a thing. Like when I was growing up, when I was a kid, you'd hear people talk about starve a cold, feed a fever, or
eat a lot when you have a fever, or don't eat?
Apparently.
Oh,
yeah, apparently. So
no,
it never made a lick of sense. Even if you figured out the right way to say it, it didn't make any sense to me. And of course, as with so many sayings and old wives' tales, absolutely no medical reason for that whatsoever.
Yeah.
So,
no, for me it was soups and teas and but it was one of those where I knew I still had to rein it in, where Tina's like, well, eat comfort foods, eat things that what they're going to taste like, don't eat anything too crazy. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but I can't get too comfortable because I had to flip into that mindset where I said, okay, any weight I'm going to lose this week, or any weight gain I'm going to minimize, has to be through diet. Which, as we've talked about extensively on the show, isn't how I regulate a lot of my weight loss. I do it a lot. I supplement a lot with working out. But as always, I need to do better with dieting. So,
and I subscribe to the tenet of you can't outrun the fork.
No, absolutely.
You can't outrun the fork. It has to be done with diet first, and then exercise and. In between. I mean, unless you're doing incredible, when you see the Michael Phelps would eat, 14,000 calories a day or whatever. But
yeah, or The Rock, or any of those guys.
He's in the pool 10 hours. When you're swimming 10 hours and swimming hard.
Yeah,
you're not just treading water. You're not playing volleyball and standing in 4-foot water. You're out there working your ass off.
An 8-hour shift in the pool. You can probably eat whatever you want. Yeah.
Before anybody asks us and said, "Well, you can't just work out and lose weight." What about Michael Phelps? Okay, so yes, there are some extreme professional athletes that work out 8 hours a day, that kind of stuff. Yes, Yes, you could probably eat whatever you want. But even then, if you look what he was eating, he wasn't eating crap. He
No.
was eating tons of high protein. He'd have like a dozen eggs.
Yeah,
He didn't have
it
a
was
dozen donuts.
like a lot of the time the news or somebody would like put it in perspective where they're like, oh, 10,000 calories a day is like if Michael Phelps was eating 8 pizzas, 8 waffles for breakfast,
Right.
12 but that wasn't what he was eating.
No, he
I
was
think
eating
some people get
eggs,
lost on that where they're like, he was eating 10 pizzas. What do you mean? It's like, no, he wasn't.
Absolutely not. So
No.
what's that do for you? That's a little bit of a gain for you then?
Yeah, 1.1. I lost. It's funny. I was 257 3 weeks ago, so I lost 1.1, and then I just ended up back in the same spot. But
All right. It happens.
it happens. But I'm ready. I'm ready to just get it all locked in. We've got a wedding coming up in June, middle of June and early June that we need to be locked in for. So 2 months here, 8 weeks.
Well, and I've got a vacation the last week in April / first week in June, in May.
Yeah.
So I've got about 7 weeks there. So I'm trying to step on the gas too. I'm trying to really up my walking because this is going to be a walking intensive vacation.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to get my stamina back up. I need to get where I can walk great lengths without stopping and that sort of thing. So yeah, we've got our work cut out and two very tangible goals. So
Right. Yeah. I want to be under. Love to be under 240 by then. 2 pounds a week, like we talked about.
right,
And I think you'd love to be for sure under 300.
absolutely, and the main thing, and like I said, I am going to shift focus to a little more physical activity. Maintain the diet, of course, but definitely up the emphasis on physical activity. So yeah, there you go.
For sure. Well, and like I said, I lost 24.5 pounds last year. I still got to go chase down that number this year. So
That's right.
we got to bring it in. We got to focus. So, all right, Scott, let's talk about you. I know you had a little bit of weight loss this week and kind of a milestone marker that you kind of wanted to go through.
I did.
So you weighed in at I thought so at 304.
No, I knew I lost weight. I'm trying to figure out what my milestone marker is.
I thought we were talking about a doctor's appointment, or I didn't know.
Oh yeah.
All right, okay. Well, real quick. So you weighed in at 304.5, means you lost 2.1 pounds. That's 2.58% of your goal. The Excel sheet, because of the new season, I'm still a little messed up on that right now. So hold on. Let me update it. You guys won't see it on the screen here, but the updated is you're 21.01% of your goal.
Okay.
And also with this week, it means that you've passed me. You've now lost more weight than I have. But I had a much bigger lead, and I lost it. So I need to another reason to lock on in, because I ain't about losing. Well, I am about losing, but I want to lose. I want to win lose. I want to win at losing right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good. So yeah, I'm really happy with that week because in that week we had Easter, Truman. We had.
Oh wow! Yeah, I didn't think about that. Mm-hmm.
Easter Sunday, where I definitely went off the rails, and we talked about it. That was a planned event for me, and but it was able to eat really well the other 6 days and still maintain my over 2 pounds a week goal. So I have zero complaints, zero beefs, and just anxious to keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, there you go. So, and we did talk about that I went to the doctor, and it was going to be. I wanted to go for a couple of reasons. I wanted to get blood work done. I wanted to see what kind of adjustments my diet over the last few months has had on my different blood markers, and especially blood glucose and being. They say I'm type 2 diabetic. I'm taking 1 metformin a day, and but I don't take insulin or anything. I don't have any symptoms or anything like that. So I think I'm still at the point where you can reverse it. And actually, following a lot of people, I do. You say anybody can reverse it, but I think I'm close. Was anxious to get blood done, and Truman, I show up, and of course, they cannot find a vein, as is so often the case.
They give you a squeeze ball. They didn't give you a squeeze ball or something.
Oh, Truman. We tried all the tricks. Believe me.
These amateurs.
I've been down this road for 50 plus years. I know how it works.
I
And
didn't know
they,
you were a weird can't find a vein guy. I didn't know that
oh
was.
yeah, yeah. I have my mom's veins. They couldn't hit her either.
Well, luckily,
Um,
I think I got my mom's veins. I'm pretty sure. I
yes,
guess.
yeah. And my dad is also very easy to hit. So,
Okay. All right.
yeah, and that's so. I've got to go to Quest this week and actually have the professionals that do it, 40 times a day.
Right.
And they have like blood, they have like vein finders, which I
Oh
guess kind
God.
of work like stud finders or whatever.
Beep, beep,
So
beep, 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 beep. Yeah.
right, so
Not as
they're
funny of
able
a
to do
joke
that.
that you can make about yourself, but
Now the weird thing is that I totally freaked
you're
them out.
so vain. Yeah.
I went to my dentist and made the last minute decision to have the to get knocked out because I was having some teeth that had broken. They had to like
Mm-hmm.
oral surgery kind of stuff, cut them out. And I was just going to do it, and then and because my original dentist said it was like $600
Yeah.
to get the juice. I'm like, oh, I'm not doing that. But this
Uh-huh.
guy, the oral surgeon, was only 300.
Mm.
And I'm sitting there in the
Mm.
chair, and I made the decision not to do it. And then they're talking about what they're going to do. I'm like, you know what? Let's take the needle.
Yeah.
Uh, and I said, I don't think you're going to be able to hit me. That you're a fucking dentist. So I got trained professionals that can't do this. Because
Yeah.
that would be no problem. He hit me in my upper arm, and nobody can figure out how he did it. I told my doctor, I told the nurse, they're like, what? Like, yeah, absolutely. And she goes, well, then maybe they had to put it subcutaneously. Like, I don't think so. I felt the stuff as soon as they opened up the port. I felt it, like it was right in the vein. So it was bizarre. But anyway, so the main thing I wanted to talk about though is I was able for the first time to discuss what I was doing with my doctor.
Sure.
Um, and
You should,
now,
as
now
always, we're
as we go,
advocates that you should discuss whatever you're doing with your doctor. By the way,
oh,
we are
100%,
we're,
100%.
we're advocating for that.
And I got there and he commented, it's the lowest I've ever weighed since I've been going to the doctor. I've been going to this guy, before the pandemic. So
Yeah.
probably between 5 and 6 years.
Right.
So, he talked about what I'm doing. Dude, I'm eating, I said my metrics, trying to keep it under 50 carbs, under 20 grams of sugar,
Mm-hmm.
eating super high protein and fat. And that's pretty much it. He goes, so he likes the no carbs and sugar part. He likes the no processed foods, of course. He does not agree with the high fat, high red meat diet. So, um, I want to get blood work done. I can't. I don't have an argument if my cholesterol is 400 or something. If I
Right.
eat shit tons of eggs and meat every day. But of course, the argument that I see is it's not the cholesterol that matters. It's not really even whether it's HDL or it's the ratio between HDL and
Yeah.
LDL.
That is. I
So,
mean, it is the ratio. Yeah.
and I asked him, I said, so do you look at the overall numbers? You look at the ratio? And he says, well, I look at the ratio, but I also look at the size of the cholesterol globules, which I got to admit, that was a new one on me. And all my reading and study, I had not seen that.
Well,
So,
I'm just naturally big cholesterol globuled personally.
I'm just big globbed.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. And, I'm not, I don't have any ammunition to go back at him or to advocate one way or the other until I see blood work. But what I really wanted to do is I really wanted to have a blood work taken and then a kind of a baseline and then go back in about 6 weeks right before we went on vacation
Mm-hmm.
and to see what six, intense, solid, no cheating weeks look like.
Right.
So hopefully I'll get that set up this week. But in the meantime, your mom has got me on this. Well, she didn't actually recruit me at all. She was just talking about it. And something that she's doing is the blue zone. You know what the blue zones are, Truman?
I try to stay out of those typically.
Well, you shouldn't because they're
Oh,
very good.
sorry. Oh.
Blue zones are areas of the world that have the highest life expectancy. Typically, they have people living to be over 100
Mm-hmm.
at a rate that is anywhere between 5 times or 20 up to 20 times that of the United States.
So you guys
So
are leaving, is what you're telling me. You guys are moving.
this guy has, well, it's a funny story. They've actually did updates on the blue zones, and a couple of them have been invaded by fast food shit. And like one of them in Okinawa, the blue zone is shrunk like 80%,
Hmm.
and it's the impact of bad food choices in that area and availability has been seen directly on the diminishing numbers of the
Interesting.
people in the blue. But
Interesting. I'm looking at it now. I'm seeing that there's 5 blue zones. Not to get too
yes,
far ahead of you.
Sardinia, uh, Loma Linda,
Yep.
Okinawa, Costa Rica. Can't remember the fifth one. What's the fifth one?
Uh, Sardinia, Italy, Loma Linda, Costa Rica, Okinawa, Japan, and Ikaria, Greece.
Oh, that's right. The island in Greece. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So,
Yep. Sorry. Let me.
it's very interesting. It's a 4-part documentary series on Netflix. And if you're interested at all, it's super interesting. And it's he talks about what they all have in common. He goes through and he talks about the factors that are involved and why they. And there's a few factors that kind of are transferable between all 5 of them. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot as far as the eating part goes, no processed foods. No processed foods.
Okay.
Like Loma Linda,
Not
California, which is
processed.
weird. If you don't know about Loma Linda, it is an area that is the highest concentration of Seventh Day Adventists in the world, and they are a very part of their religion is keeping your body healthy, is nutrition. And there a lot of them are vegetarians, but they went through the grocery store in Loma Linda. It is entirely different from any other grocery store you've ever seen in America. So it is it's pretty unbelievable to look at. And your mom just poked her head in and reminded me no caffeine, and I don't know that I'm not positive that's accurate. I'd have to look that up. I very rarely doubt your mom on nutrition stuff, so it is probably true. I don't remember them saying that. I know that's a big thing with the Mormons is no caffeine, but
Right.
anyway,
Yeah, I'm trying to
it's
show it. I'm
interesting. I
trying to
highly
show it on
recommend
the
it.
map for everybody. I don't know how well they'll be able to see it. Where my mouse is here is Los Angeles, Loma Linda here, just
Yep.
kind of a very small area just to the right
Yep.
of Los Angeles. San
Yeah,
Diego, Tijuana down here, but yeah.
yeah, it's a suburb of LA. It's basically um, a suburb of LA. It's
Right
in a
at
suburban
215
area.
and 10 if anybody familiar with just south
The
of San
10,
Bernardino.
that's the 10, Truman.
Sorry, the 10. Yeah. You take the 10 over to the 215, you take that, you get off there.
That was so
Hop on
funny.
over to
That
Bryn
was
Mawr, North
one of the
Central.
hardest part. One of the hardest parts about moving to LA when I moved there was describing people. Like you take the 5 over to the 405, and then you want to take the 10. Like the what now? Okay, so
Just,
anyway, so what I'm wondering, I'm trying to put together. I think there may be a path, Truman,
mm-hmm.
um, for eating some of the blue zone stuff and incorporating it into my own diet.
Interesting. Okay.
I think my doctor says he's a fan of the 80-20. Like 80% of the time, you eat very well. 20% of the time, you can have a little more flexibility. So if I eat 2 meals a day, that means every 2 weeks I could have 6 meals that are super high fat, super high protein, burgers, steaks with butter, that kind of shit.
Whatever you want. Yeah.
The other time he suggests lean protein, which that's not that big of a problem for me. I don't mind eating 93% beef. I don't mind eating white meat chicken or turkey,
No.
any of that stuff. So I think
I don't
there
love
may
fatty
be a
beefs. No.
way to. Well, right, but there's still room for that. And if I want to have,
Mm-hmm.
like I like to make sausage for breakfast in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I can do that a couple times. So
Hmm.
I think there's a path to kind of do a Blue Scott plan, if you will, and incorporate kind of the advice my doctor has given me
Mm-hmm.
with a low carb, low sugar lifestyle and kind of make an overall plan out of that. So we'll see what
Yeah.
happens. I know a lot of the carnivore advocates say you have to have the fat. You got to have the fat. The fat
Right.
makes all the difference.
It's all he's
So
got to have
I don't
something
know.
to burn. Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So
Okay.
there you go. That's my story. That's how my week went. So stay tuned. We'll get some blood drawn this week, and we'll see where how our numbers are. But I will say, Truman, testing on my finger sticks,
Mm-hmm.
testing my glucose level, which we want to be below 100. Since I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes about 3, 4, again, pre-pandemic, so probably 4 years ago, I've never been below 100, not once, not early in the morning, never. Um, I tested the day I went to the doctor, 83. So I
Wow.
think I'm making
Hmm.
I'm making progress, and I'm losing weight. I'm
Yeah.
losing weight. My blood sugar's down. Again, we'll have to check cholesterol. We'll have to check all that.
Mm-hmm.
But so far, what I have heard and what I have read, and when I say heard, I mean I've listened to audiobooks, not just people talking on the street,
Sure.
um, is what I'm doing is working.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Yeah.
and not a lot of doctors are really well trained on nutrition. Mine usually is, so I listen to him.
Mm-hmm.
If I went to a normal doctor, just the general practitioner running you through there every 3 minutes, I would give probably very little credence to what he said nutritionally.
Right.
It's just the way it is. Doctors don't get nutritional education; they just don't.
No.
My doctor is very hip. He's very up on trends. So I definitely put credence in what he says. Anxious to see my blood work. Okay, now I'm really done.
Absolutely. Excited for you, man. Excited for you.
Uh, yeah,
Happy for what's going on here. Sounds like good progress. Sounds like tangible results. Sounds like tangible effects on your well-being for the better. So,
yeah, no question, no question. And I
absolutely.
will say, if you're toying with the idea of doing the blue zone thing, if you watch the documentaries, you go, oh, this would be kind of fun to do. I'll have to start doing that when I get older. It is a lifestyle that the longer you do it, the longer you will live. If you start it late, it will still help,
Mm-hmm.
but to have the most effect, you should be doing it for your entire life.
Interesting.
So,
All right. Well, I might have to.
but
Might have
there's
to
a
look
lot.
into it.
There's a lot of different. There's social aspects to it, and it goes a lot. It goes far beyond diet.
Yeah, I imagine
As
those
far
cities are all, or those areas are all walkable. I bet that's a huge thing. I bet they're all walkable
um,
cities. Or
the like Sardinia, they talk about everything is it's incredibly inclined. So everywhere they go,
mm-hmm.
everywhere they walk is up or down hills and intense hills.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and then they also talk about like more esoteric things like community, having a lot of friends, being socially active,
Mm-hmm.
not being a loner. Basically, they say being loneliness will take years off of your life. That kind of thing.
I can
So
believe that. Yeah.
there's there's a lot of things you can do other than making adjustments in your diet to improve your quality of life. So I
Yeah.
highly recommend them. Just Blue Zone Netflix. I don't know what the exact name is, but it has Blue Zone in the title. You'll find it. So, all right.
Sure. All right.
Got anything else?
No, no. I think that honestly that's about it. About all
Okay.
I had.
All right. Yeah, we talked about this being a quickie. So yeah, and we'll be back next week to talk about my results of my blood work to see how that's been going, see if my cholesterol is off the chain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we'll see, and we'll get my official A1C Beachfront Avenue A1C readings, and yeah, Truman. Every time I hear A1C, I can't help but doing that.
It sure sounds that way, doesn't it? Guys,
So
we appreciate you for being here. Check us out on Twitter, twitter.com, Steam Machine, twitter.com, Steamroller, YouTube, Open Disaster. If you guys are listening on Spotify, want to see our face. If you guys are watching on YouTube, don't want to see our face, go to Spotify. It's over there. Really appreciate it here. Appreciate you being here. The dreamers, the believers, even the fat guys. See you next week with Scott's blood work results.
you guys have a great week.
Feels weird to clickbait that, but see you guys.